The Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's fun,
Okay, let's call this meeting to order and we'll start with just some general information. Please silence all your electronic devices, phones, watches, etc. The emergency exit is the door you came in, and there's one in the back corner here. We do have a generator in case the power goes out. And heaven forbid anything happens, just follow Ron. He'll be the first one out. Okay, first item up is the approval of the June 3rd meeting. Everybody get a chance to review them. Any comments, questions, concerns? All right, do I have a motion to move or approve? Moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Anybody have anything else? All in favor signify by saying aye. I'll recuse myself since I wasn't there. Or abstain, I guess is the right thing. There we go. Legal notices were published in the Daily Messenger on June 9th for a couple of them. I think it was June 9th for all of them. So, okay, the order of business. We'll be following the agenda that's on the table over there. First item up is continued public hearing for Adrian Bellis, PB 2026-0303. Adrian, let us know what's going on.
Since the last meeting, my engineer got the new plans to you guys with the new landscaping, screening and everything, and then also I sent a letter in that I was changing the size down a bit, 12 feet off of the structure to 60 by 60, 700, around 3,600 square foot.
Okay.
Sent in on the
Yep.
new information, so.
Okay. Remember, if I turn on the mics in the room, everything you say is going to be recorded forever on YouTube. Okay, so just letting you know. Okay, then I'll turn it over to Ron. Ron, we got a resolution here. It's got some red in it. Tell us what's going on.
You've got choices to make tonight.
Yep.
One of the choices is to accept the engineer or the landscaping that has been provided for this reduced building.
Yep.
And determine that with that landscaping, those impacts identified in part 2 and go away, and we can get on with completing secret.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, you'll probably end up continuing this because
Right.
I
You
don't.
got to make the decision before you go forth and do what you need to do.
Right.
Okay. Paula?
I have nothing additional.
On
Nothing from highway.
engineering.
I don't have anything either.
Okay, this is a continued public hearing. Do we have anyone in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this application? Anyone online like to speak for or against this application? One more time? Okay. Board. Let's start with Doug. Doug, do you think we have enough landscaping to address this and make it a neg deck? Or do we need more information?
I think with what's provided, plus the reduction in the square footage, bring it under the 4,000. No, I think we're good moving forward.
Okay, Tim, what do you think?
I agree.
Okay, Regina. Okay, so with that, you have seen the resolution, Adrian. You're okay with the resolution if we say yes, we've got enough screening and we can start with the neg deck, so. Go ahead, Ron.
You can start with completing part 3 and then drafting the resolution for
Right.
determination.
So do we approve this resolution or?
Yeah, you're gonna approve that resolution with those conditions.
Right. Okay. With that, do I have someone to move, waive the reading and move, yeah, move the resolution. Moved by Regina, seconded by Doug. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote. please.
Jimmy Lucia.
Aye.
Dees.
Aye.
Dina Souza.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll go forth. You'll do the paperwork. We'll be able to take care of the paperwork at the next meeting. Adrian's not gonna he may or may not be here, but he won't need to be here. We'll just press on and make it happen. And then we can turn it over to the ZBA, correct? That's the next step in the process.
That's the next step.
Okay, all right. Okay, Adrian, come back up. Okay, we got that one taken care of. So the next item up is new public hearing for we'll call it the Lindfish Solar Project. Come on up, tell us what's going on. And this is the first official public hearing. So we'll kind of get a quick overview of everything and then we'll turn it over to staff. Then we'll turn it over to public hearing.
All right. Most of you I recognize from last meeting I was here, I think 2 meetings ago. I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Torrey Clark. I'm from New Energy Equity. We are the developer that's working with Windfish on this project. So this is a little under 5 megawatt AC solar array that's on Lynn's property here obviously in Farmington. So we've worked quite a while with the town itself and going through their ordinance, adjusting some things from the original package, and going through their concerns. I could drone on about this project for probably a couple hours.
No, you wouldn't, because I wouldn't let you.
That's what I'm looking for. So I usually go ahead and open up to
Yep.
any sort of questions or anything like that. When it comes to that, the package itself is public. You just have to request it from the town itself. And any information is forthcoming, obviously. So, go ahead.
Okay, Ron,
I have,
nothing additional?
nothing additional.
The resolution we have
We'll either continue.
to continue it and declare ourselves lead agency? Or have we already done that? Have we already done the lead agency work?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, Paula, we're declaring, that's what I thought.
What are you looking for?
No, it's our intent to designate lead agency. And then we send the notices out tomorrow or whenever. Okay. Anything else, Ron?
I'm working on it.
Okay. So we're declaring our intent to be lead agency and then we'll send the paperwork out to all the lead agents.
No, so the last
That's
time,
me.
this application was before you guys, you deemed the application complete and we initiated seeker. Ron and the staff forwarded out the coordination and comments to all
Okay.
involved
So
agencies.
now we have everything
Soliciting
back.
feedback. I'm not sure that the 30-day period has ended, but nonetheless, tonight is the public hearing. And the
Yep.
goal is to get comments and feedback from the public and staff. And then if it has ended, that the board and Ron would probably direct you to declare yourselves lead agency and then wait until the appropriate time to move forward with
Right.
the drafting of the part 2 and 3.
Last week.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Ron?
I'm still trying to find the resolution I wrote. Hang on.
You want to,
Here's that one. No, it isn't. That's not that one either.
I got one.
Just at it.
Here.
It's in this pile.
Zoning heads, right? Resolution.
I know.
No,
Okay.
it's in my.
Yeah, as in the agency, it ended on June 8th,
Oh, okay, so we did finish it up, okay?
and there was no objection to the planning board being designated lead agency.
Okay. All right.
And, tonight you received, therefore, the, seeker resolution. The resolution that's been drafted is that you're designating yourself the lead agency.
Lead agency, and then we'll continue the public hearing.
The public hearing,
Right.
okay, and take testimony. We'll continue the public hearing.
Until we're satisfied and ready to
Right.
speak. Okay. Cool. Paula.
I'm all set. We submitted to county, has no objections.
Okay. On.
Highway doesn't have anything.
Good. Lance.
No, MRB has a review, or excuse me, we are reviewing the application. We'll be providing comments, I would say within a week, to the town on the
Okay.
application.
Okay. All right, so this is how we're gonna run this. I'm gonna turn on the microphone here. When I do, everything you say will be recorded. So if you have sidebar conversations, consider it part of YouTube for the rest of your lives. The way we do this is we ask for public comments. You give us public comments. Remember that the phase that we are in is the environmental phase. We're not at this point worried about the actual layout, yada, yada, yada. We're worried about the environmental record, which means, is this going to ruin the environment? What are the environmental issues? All those types of things. And again, as I think I said the last time you were here, or many of you were here, we want data, facts, information such as that will allow us to make an informed decision on the environmental record for this project. That's the way we do this thing. Once we finish the environmental record and make our determination, then we move forward to the location, the different little bits and pieces of things, where the roads are, those types of things. That's the way we do that. Then we get into the actual preliminary site plan, and then we get into after we conclude that, then we do the final. So with that, I try to keep your comments to about 3 minutes each. We don't have a ton of public here tonight, so it won't be a real problem. When you do want to speak, raise your hand. All your comments and questions go to me. I'm the one running the meeting. I will then determine whether I ask them to answer it or we just put it on the record and go from there. So I have a lot of options of who we go to for answers, or we'll take it under advisement and go from there. So I'm going to turn it on. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. When you do, I need your name and address before you speak so the public record can be accurate. John does a great job, and he would probably do it anyway, but let's make sure we get the right names and addresses. Okay, the microphone is on. Please, anyone that would like to speak for or against this application, please let me know now. Yes, ma'am.
Name's Kathy Williamson. I live at 4414 Mount Payne Road.
Okay, Kathy.
I do have a lot to say. It doesn't all have to do with the environment. Some does have to do with location. And I would like to be able to speak what I've prepared for you.
Yeah, try to keep it under 3 minutes, but go ahead.
So.
And you can provide us anything that we can put in the record. Okay.
We appreciate the time and effort that the planning board and building department invest in evaluating our projects. I would like to express my concerns regarding this application and request careful consideration of its potential impacts on the surrounding neighborhood and environment. I also encourage the board to visit Mount Payne Road and review the site plans in person, better understand the proximity of the proposed development to existing homes and properties. Many residents in the immediate area were unaware of the proposed project until the summer of 2025. Given the scale of the proposed facility and potential long-term effects on neighboring properties, many residents believe earlier communication and outreach would have been beneficial. My primary concerns relate to the project's location and its potential impacts on nearby residents and natural resources. According to the plans, portions of the proposed access road and electrical infrastructure would be located approximately 35 feet from my home and approximately 30 feet from my well. Because residents in this area rely on private wells for their water supply, any construction activity, grading, excavation, or changes in drainage patterns warrant careful evaluation to ensure groundwater quality and well integrity are protected. It also is my understanding that the town requires a 40-foot minimum setback for any infrastructure related to solar projects. However, the site plans list the setback at 28 feet from my property line to the beginning of the access road. Additional concerns include potential impacts on stormwater management, drainage patterns, wildlife habitat, nearby wetlands regulated by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and the overall rural character of the neighborhood. Visual impact of a large solar facility should also be considered. Mountain Road is a quiet, rural area characterized by open views, low traffic volumes, and residential properties that have long benefited from the natural landscape. The introduction of extensive solar panel arrays, fencing, access roads, and associated infrastructure significantly alter the character of the area and affect the enjoyment of the neighboring properties. I respectfully request that the planning board thoroughly assess the project's compatibility with the surrounding residential community, including its potential effects on neighboring properties, water resources, drainage, wetlands, wildlife, visual character, and quality of life. I have lived on Mount Payne Road for over 40 years and am directly impacted by this proposed project. My concerns are based on the project's proximity to my home and well, potential environmental impacts, whether the application fully complies with the town requirements. I have concerns about the accuracy of the project documentation submitted by New Energy Equity. Exhibit D, the visual simulation map, Exhibit A site plan prepared by Hunt Architecture, and the April 14th, 2026 letter from MRB Group to Mr. Brand all identify the project beginning at 4410 Mount Payne Road. To my knowledge, 4410 Mount Payne Road does not exist. And if such an address did exist, it would be located in the town of Manchester, not this jurisdiction. The basic location information is incorrect in multiple submitted documents. How can neighboring property owners be confident that other aspects of the application have been accurately prepared and reviewed? My private well is approximately 24 feet deep and is located very close to the proposed access road. Construction of the project will likely involve heavy equipment, excavation, grading, and potentially vibratory equipment operating near the well. I feel like there are questions the board should require the applicant to answer. Has a pre-construction survey of neighboring wells been completed? Will baseline water quality testing be performed before construction? Will baseline flow rate and yield testing be performed? What minimum separation distance exists between access road and neighboring wells? What vibration monitoring will occur during construction? If a well is damaged, contaminated, or loses production, who pays for repairs or replacement? Is the developer willing to establish a well replacement guarantee fund for adjacent property owners? The town's criteria indicate that access road should be constructed on Ag 80 land. The proposed access road appears to be located on land zoned Ag 80. This property has been actively and successfully farmed for decades, including throughout the 40 years I have lived there. I would like clarification regarding how this aspect of the project complies with the town requirements and agricultural land preservation goals. I'm concerned about the proximity of collection lines and electrical infrastructure to my home. Proposed infrastructure appears to be located much closer to neighboring residents than I believe is appropriate. What safety measures are in place in the event of a lightning strike affecting the collection system or associated equipment? Ice storms are common in our area. What protection exists if electrical equipment is damaged during severe weather? What emergency response plans are in place? Transformer failure, electrical fire occurs near neighboring homes. Fencing will remove access to a significant area currently used by deer and other wildlife for forage. The project proposes green giant arborvitae screening vegetation. While these trees are considered deer resistant, they are not deer proof. As wildlife loses access to existing food sources within the project area, pressure on surrounding vegetation may increase. What is the long-term maintenance plan if screening vegetation is repeatedly damaged by wildlife? How long is the guarantee on the proposed screening, and who is responsible for replacement after that period expires? Mountain Road is a quiet rural residential area. Residents choose to live here because of the open landscape, agricultural character, low traffic volume, and natural surroundings. I drive by several solar farms in my travels. The one on 5 and 20 in Bloomfield, along the Thruway eastbound near Clifton Springs, Fox and Yellow Mills Road, and 2 on Route 365 out of Rome, New York. Not one of them is placed in such close proximity to existing homes. Project would introduce industrial scale infrastructure, including fencing, access roads, collection lines, transformers, and solar arrays to the immediate vicinity of existing homes. The situation seems unprecedented given the solar farms I have observed. I ask the board to carefully consider whether this project is compatible with the character of the surrounding neighborhood.
Can I assume you're almost done?
Yeah, I'm almost done. I again encourage the board members to visit Mount Payne Road and view the site firsthand. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, you'll give a copy of that to the clerk. We'll go from there and have staff and that will look at it. We're not going to answer any questions like that tonight when you spent that much time already going through it. So you can hand it to him right now. Okay, while she's doing that, do I have anyone else that'd like to speak? Please, since we already let it go too long here, let's try to keep it a little bit short.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Okay, well, that's kind of why I kind of gave her some extra time. Yes, ma'am.
Diane Reed, I live on Mouse Payne Road across from Linden where the solar farm is going to be.
Okay,
My documentation is not as excellent and forthcoming as hers, but I also want to put in my concerns about having the well, the septic. I worry about decreased power as they push more power through the lines. I again worry about the well, the contamination. And my big thing is also wildlife. As she stated about the trees with the deer and all that, this is also migrating hens, birds that are protected by the state and federally protected, as well as the animal wildlife. We've actually had martins reported in the area as well as eagles. They're very much protected. And, well, I just had a falcon not that long ago, and they're protected. They do cross over right over here, and I do not have the data to, hopefully somebody else does have the data. But I have read where they talk about the vibration, the heat coming off the panels and all that is disrupting to the hands of the birds.
okay.
So my thing's in here. It's not as good as hers, but
We appreciate all input. You can pass it to the clerk.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. Anyone else like to speak for or against this application?
Pesky, owner and manager of a home for Red Creek Farm. Address is 44th Street, Mount Payne Road.
Not to be confused with paved road, my property is mostly road frontage. In fact, do you mind if I?
No, go ahead. I brought it.
My plan starts about here and runs all the way down front of the road.
Okay.
This is my home.
Mhm.
This is one of my farms. My other farm, my horse farm sits here, my access road. These solar panels, and for some reason, I don't understand, are only 40 feet apart from my road, against the road, 40 feet. Now, I know from what I read, when you abut next to them, they have to be 187 feet apart. For the life of me, I can't understand why these solar panels are going to be 50 feet.
We will review that. That's part of the review process.
My property is mostly pastured or breed and raised, very valuable for urban purposes, some selling in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some of these horses have gone on and won in place in multiple stakes races. I have owned that property for some 35 years now, raised 6 children and 5 grandchildren to whom the property is now entrusted. This charming road is host to 8 homes on the road. We've all been very lucky to live and thrive there for many years. This large-scale industrial solar farm installation will completely ruin everything about this community, from the shortage of groundwater, the aesthetics, the value of our properties, land erosion, disruption, and the migration of wildlife and birds. I'm not against renewable energy, but I'm against it when it threatens my business, my health, solitude, and entire way of life. This is not the Fox Road fight, and I know what a headache it was for everyone involved, but this large-scale solar farm will change the entire Mount Road as a whole. These solar panels, according to the visual specs of New Energy Equity, are to be placed 40 feet across from my barns and home, including their driveway to install and maintain solar panels. Fish property has plenty of land. They can place them on other parts of this farm and leave off on Mount Road alone. First and foremost, my concern is the water crisis. We must address this local infrastructure. Our area has suffered from documented water shortages for years. There is absolutely no public water or sewer there. We have a very vulnerable water table, and this massive construction risks compacting soil, altering stormwater runoff, disrupting the local hydrology. If our delicate groundwater supply is deleted or contaminated by this project, my farm cannot function, my family and animals will be left without water. We have over the years trucked in water by the tankers that fill our well. We all entirely rely on our private well water in our entire community. And I would like to ask if the town of Farmington can do an extensive hydrologic impact study. In fact, today when I was going through some records, I found the exhibit on the geotechnical report on page 7 that was done. It said, groundwater observations, when they were augering and drilling operations, there was never any water introduced to the boreholes. They drilled 8 different boreholes and never hit water there. I would like to address the effects of a solar farm that has on horses. Thoroughbred horses are high-strung, nervous animals, and it takes a professional handler to handle them. The insistent noise, the continuous high hum from the industrial inverters, visual panic from the solar glare, and the moving shadows of tracking arrays mimics predators to a horse, triggering constant pacing and blind panic. Air pollution and odor, constant construction will choke my pastures. With massive clouds of airborne dust, permanently damaging their highly sensitive respiratory system. In fact, ineffective screening. The developers promise vegetation buffers, but I think they're a false security blanket. These plants will take years to grow to a functional height. And in the meantime, my horses are entirely exposed to an active industrial zone. The environmental changes caused by solar farms, along with their installation activity, dust, and unfamiliar sites, will trigger stress and anxiety and root damage, leading to ulcers and abortions. I've recently come across 2 studies on solar panels. One was the Robertson-Mendel study in Buffalo, New York. It was a study published in the Journal of Natural Resources and Development to the leaching of heavy metals and alloys from the photovoltaic system. Over time, they have done testing in soils and panel composition. Solar panels show contamination happening. The town of Farmington also has, from what I understand, a right to farm. The town of Farmington intends to continue a predominantly agricultural and open rural character of strategic farmland protection area. purpose of this plan was to protect agricultural soils and promote viable farming operations in the town of Farmington. Implementing long-term conservation measures for the protection of farm operations and farmland are the most important action. The right to farm local law. This code prohibits any person or development from unreasonably interfering or trying to deter with normal farming operations. The goal is to preserve the natural environment and protect it. The objections were protection of natural resources, selected open space, the protection of water resources and keep impacts from erosion, sedimentation, and drainage to a minimum. Blackbrook Farm Creek runs behind me and my farm, and it drains into ponds behind my land that drain into ponds behind me, and so on, and they all drain into Blackbrook Farm.
We almost there? Good.
And I quote from the town of Farmington's website. Farmland loss is farmland loss forever. If solar panels are safe, why are periodic soil samples required by the planning board as a condition of granting a special permit? My understanding, they have to have 1, 3, and 5-year solar samples. And why? What are they looking for beneath the panels? Are they monitoring for chemicals and poison? The transportation impact analysis, I don't agree where the roads are being placed. There's a terrible knoll there. That's a terrible blind spot. That's an accident waiting to happen. Again, public water, no public water or sewer on Mount Plain Road. Farmland protection should protect prime and unique classified agricultural soil and not conflict with nearby established agricultural operations. Solar panels should avoid harm and destruction to unique natural features found on the site, such as the drumlins. One thing I wanted to strongly say, if you get on the New Energy website, they have under questions, under the Discover Solar tab, it specifically says solar panels reflect light. There can be glare at different times of the day. It also says there's warning next to the solar farm. It also says that the solar panels have the potential to disrupt wildlife and cause species displacement. That's right on New Energy Equity's website. So I agree with everything Kathy had said. It was a very nice job, Pat. Solar panels should be in areas where potential impacts on residents are minimized. Regulations and zoning laws should protect the surrounding landowners, and zoning laws should set more distance and perimeters for noise level, electromagnetic field setbacks, and visual aesthetics. Not small trees that's going to take 15 years to grow, or simply 40-foot setback from a house across the road. I respectfully urge this board to protect Farmington's active agricultural economy and to protect the welfare of children and animals and all of my neighbors on Mount Plain Road.
Okay, you'll give that to the clerk. We'll enter it into the record.
It shows culvert. My exes are culverts.
Perfect.
Town of Farmington put in
Yep.
themselves where all the water drains the north side of the road to my side of the road to my pond.
Perfect. John will take care of that. Okay, anyone else have any other comments? Yes, sir. I hope that's shorter than the last two.
On the band, they were wondering.
I am not gonna go there. Probably. No, you're not gonna get any from me. Go ahead. Okay,
So I'm going to jump down to the environmental impact of solar farms on our thoroughbred business operation.
okay,
On our farm are nursing foals, weanlings, yearling mares, and older racehorses. Our business has been successful. Thoroughbreds are extremely sensitive animals and are highly perceptive. Thoroughbreds can spook when visual or noise environment changes suddenly. This is especially critical when breeding and raising young thoroughbreds. Let me first discuss solar glare. Now, I have some knowledge of this, and I'm not bragging, but I have a master's degree in optical engineering from the University of Rochester. So I know a little bit about solar glare. And I'm telling you that there will be times during the year when glare will be a problem for our thoroughbred operation. I don't have enough detail from the folks installing the arrays to comment further, but I can guarantee you there is no way that they can install any kind of optical surfacing on the solar array to prevent any kind of reflection at any time of the year, any time of the day. We all know that construction is a messy activity, thus is a constant problem. There's an article in the Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine on a peer-reviewed finding that says basically poor air quality increases the likelihood and severity of exercise-induced pulmonary hemorrhaging. That's bleeding in racehorses. So I can provide that citation if you like. It's a peer-reviewed publication. It's fact-based. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that construction dust and dust generated during operation of the solar farm will be problematic, especially for the young horses that will be ingesting some of this airborne dust. Your poor breathing capacity, which is a given the peer review paper I just cited, means poor racing performance, means poor business and financial outcomes when they become racehorses, and would seriously affect our business economically. Another problem with solar farms adjacent to thoroughbred horse farms is sudden noise during construction and ongoing maintenance. Horses are flight animals easily startled by unexpected noise, causing horses to swoop, spin, or bolt, creating injury risk. Sudden noise can also induce appetite loss, stress response. That's not a good outcome. Again, in peer-reviewed papers, it's been shown that stress can accelerate heart rate from 220 beats per minute versus 160 beats per minute for normal galloping. Stress can double cortisol, a stress hormone. Stress can also lead to colic and ulcers. Stress can lead to bleeding and unexpected behavior. I appreciate your time and.
Okay. You'll add that, if you'll give that to the clerk, we'll make sure that we get it documented. Okay, anyone else like to speak for or against this application? And give one more shot and then I'm gonna go online. Anyone else like to speak for or against this application? Okay, online, anyone like to speak for or against this application? Online, one more time. Anybody like to speak for or against this application? One more time in the room. Okay, so we have a resolution declaring ourselves lead agency and then continuing the public hearing. So the public hearing will go on to the next meeting or whenever we said, yeah, next meeting, correct? Or
Well, I would like to at least have a indication that by July 1st, you're gonna have the opportunity to have reviewed all of that and provided written responses to it.
Yeah.
So that everybody can see it. Is that possible?
Yes, yeah, if John gets me that, tomorrow, we can work on that.
Can you stay up all night and work on that, John?
On the end of business is fine.
okay, go ahead. Right.
Like a week.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how it turns around, but
Here's my question, do you guys need a certain amount of time to review those responses, or you just let me respond and then?
We're not gonna prejudge your response.
No, I understand that, I just didn't know if you wanted the chance to.
yeah, but we need the input
Right.
by like the Friday before.
Which would be,
26th? By the 26th. That's what we can have from today, or do you want to give yourself a little more time and then we'll put it on the next meeting after that?
I can get it there by that time, if that's not, John, as long as you can get that to me by tomorrow, Friday, at the very latest.
Yeah, I'll scan everything.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, that's absolutely fine. And then I'll put together.
We just gotta continue.
Exactly.
Gotta wait. So
Exactly.
that's not the
Yeah.
end of the world, it's just.
No, Yep. Couldn't get it to it. Yep. Yeah, and this is the way we do it. And remember a couple things. We have an engineer, a town engineer, whose job is to address a lot of those issues that you talked about with hydrology and all of those types of things. Looking at the geotech report and making sure it's accurate and provides the information we need. They'll do that. The town will look at the setbacks and make sure that all the setbacks are proper and meted. I don't think we went in and requested any variances, so it must have initially met the requirements of the town, but certainly the building department will look at that. And like I said, the visual issue, we do require screening, and we don't just plant sap or little tiny, we try to get medium-sized trees that will grow relatively quickly. And we typically attempt to make sure that there is a ongoing maintenance requirement that requires them to replace anything that dies or gets eaten by the deer. And certainly, the building department and staff will look at the addressing changed or the addresses that you brought up, make sure that we had nothing in there was inaccurate, and we'll address those. So I don't think there was anything you said that we can't at least provide information on. And that's what we'll do. We'll give you the feedback. We'll get the information. The board will get the information, and we'll go from there. But this is a period that we're going to look at the environment, and we'll look at it as long as we need to address the issues, and then we'll make our determination at that point and move from there. So, board, Tim, anything else? Doug? Adrian? Regina? And for me, I mean, I appreciate so much that you provided questions and that, and had it on paper so that we could take it and make sure that the applicant and staff can look at everything and make sure that we can address those things. That is very important. So we assume that our next meeting on July 1st, we'll have another public hearing, and we'll look at that. We should have on the website the answers to these questions from the applicant, correct, Ron?
The information that is provided, yes.
The information that's provided from the applicant to us addressing the issues in your letters or in your speeches will be provided on the website. So you will have access to that once we get it. So with that, is there any other additional questions before we go ahead and Ron?
Okay, so we post the meeting agenda at least the Thursday before the meeting.
So, 25th,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to have an indication from you that you're gonna be able to comply with meeting that deadline. The irony here is that this is a public hearing. We have to continue it to a specific date and time. Okay?
Yes.
So
I'll give you confirmation here on one way or another, we'll have those responses.
we're continuing it to July 1st. Okay. Come July 1st, you may be here saying we need 2 more weeks or 3 more months. I don't know how many.
And then we'll just provide that information, continue the public hearing, and then close it and move forward. We expect to have the answers, but if we don't, we'll continue the public hearing.
The only other thing I would like to add into the public hearing record is our town engineering firm, MRB, has experience in numerous other municipalities with solar applications of all sizes. So this is not a new learning curve for them. We rely on their expertise. They've got the staff and the capability to get us through this. So we'll continue with that.
Yeah, we're very happy with that. The other thing that I just thought of as I was sitting here is that I know that there are some comments around whether or not something should be authorized in the A80 district. This is an authorized use, special use in the A80 district. The town board is the one that establishes that. We don't do that. All we do is look at the project, do the environmental, and then do the project. So if for some reason you feel that the town code should be changed, that you need to get with the town board and have them look at the town code as you see fit. So, and I think, man, you had one more comment back here.
Say continued public hearing,
Yes.
during that time period, can you submit things to the clerk? Like any other concerns or only at the hearing?
No,
itself?
only at the hearing itself. Bring it, provide it, and then we'll give it to the clerk. You don't have to read the whole thing in front of everybody, but we need to get it to the town clerk so that we can address the issues from there. Okay? With that, the board doesn't have any other comments. We have a resolution in front of us to have a motion to waive the reading and approve the resolution as presented. Moved by Regina, seconded by Adrian. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Lucia.
Aye.
Doug Beats. Aye. Regina Susa. Adrian Bellis. And Heminger.
Aye. Okay, we're continuing that public hearing. Thank you very much for your input. And we'll move forward to the next item on the agenda, which is the Canandaigua Development Corporation final subdivision plat and final site plan. Come on up and, yes,
Is it possible at future meetings that a microphone be provided for the table and up here? You can't hear back here. You can hear you guys real good, but you can't hear over.
you could hear me if I didn't have a microphone on.
That's
I guarantee you that. I'll turn this up a little bit next time.
So you,
Because there's a microphone there, and there's three microphones there. Okay, I'll tell them to speak up. Remind me next time and I'll tell them to speak up, okay? You got it. And you should be able to watch the YouTube if you're really excited about hearing it and see what they had to say. Okay, thank you. Okay. You guys have a good day. Thank you very much. Okay, we're looking at the Canandaigua Development Corporation. Go ahead, tell us what's going on in the short whatever, and then we'll turn it over to staff.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Sean Condon.
Sean, how you doing?
Yes, company, Henrietta. Here with the developer, Canandaigua Development Company. We're all familiar with this project. This 40 residential lots versus homes, 12.5 acre vacant parcel. We were last in front of the board on the January 7th planning board meeting. Since then, we've worked closely with town staff and the town engineer on design edits. Those were largely utility layout, also some lot layout reconfigurations, leading to us to final site plan submission. We've received MRB's latest comment letter today. We've had a chance to review, noted that there was no any concerns on it. They were all technical in nature. We've had a chance to review the draft resolution discussed with the Director of Planning Development. All items were acceptable except for item 5A. We talked to Ron about regarding the street light and an existing crosswalk. There already is a street light at the intersection of 96. Other than that, they were satisfactory. Other updates, we've been coordinating with closely with state agencies. Final plans are currently being reviewed by DEC and Department of Health. We've also been coordinating with New York State DOT. We've done a review of the plans, good with the intersection location, and has given us verbal.
Good.
Questions?
Okay, Ron.
Yeah, one of the issues causing the delay in getting this back before us was the tax foreclosure action on the adjacent parcel of land to the east between that westerly driveway or at intersection that you see on the drawing and the Glen Carlin.
Glen Carlin.
to the west. That has now resulted in Canandaigua Development being awarded that property under tax foreclosure. Their intentions for that property is to loop the water line between Glen Carlin and this, so that we have a looped system in this area, not only for water protection, for fire protection, but water quality. So it's taken a while, but thank you very much for pursuing that. The only other thing was that made reference to the light at the intersection of Airedale Glen and 96. I agree. He has convinced me that the light is adequate to illuminate that intersection. My comment was that it was just not shown on the
Right.
subdivision map.
But we can scratch 5A?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think we're in a good place here.
Good.
It's a very interesting project and one that we hope moves forward very
Perfect.
quickly.
Okay, Paula.
I don't have anything additional.
Sean.
Nothing from highway.
Engineering.
As referenced, MRB Group did complete the review. I do apologize for the delay. Honestly, I thought I had sent it out earlier. We had minor comments, I think 3 total, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Very minor in nature. Support the board moving forward tonight. Thank you.
Okay. This is a public hearing? No, this is another board action, but do we have anyone in the audience that'd like to comment on this one? Board, Regina? Adrian? Doug? Yeah. Okay, I'm okay too. So we have 2 resolutions. They've agreed to everything except for 5A on the one. Do I have a motion to block these 2 resolutions and approve and waive the reading and approve 604 and 605? Moved by Doug, seconded by Adrian. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
DeLucia.
Aye.
Doug Beach.
Aye.
Regina Sousa. Adrian Bowles.
Aye. You're good to go.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, bud. Yeah. Look forward to seeing that thing get started.
Be this year.
There you go. I like that.
Yep.
You remember, I've said this a million times. Work with staff, work with the PRC, get what you need done and get that meeting and set up and everything get ready to go. Okay. Yep. Yep, you too. Okay, another board actions. We have PB 2026-501, 502, Ironwood Dimension Energy. This is to determine whether applications are complete for review. Any comments from the applicants?
It should be on.
Are you online? Any comments from the applicants?
No comments this evening. Thank you to the board.
Okay, all right. Ron?
Yeah, we're ready to move forward with this, I believe.
We are?
And
501 and 502, the resolutions say go ahead and accept them.
Yep.
Okay. And then the first meeting will be
I believe it's
August 5th is the public hearing?
August 6th,
the
August 5th.
August 5th.
board establishes coordinated review period that's over on the 20th of July. So that the planning board will declare its intent to designate a lead agency on August 5th. Yep. So any other comments, Ron?
Speaker will start on this on Friday.
Yep.
The only other thing I just want to make everybody aware of is we have 2 solar applications. One is 2025-0501 and 0502. This one is 2026-0501 and 0502. It just took that other solar a year to get their act together and get it before us.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Okay, Paul, anything?
No, I'm all set.
Sean,
Nothing from highway.
Lance?
I'm good with this one as well.
Okay, other board actions, Tim? Doug? Adrian? Regina? Okay, do I have a motion to waive the reading and approve 2026 501, 502 and block them? Motion by Tim, seconded by Regina. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Lucia.
Aye.
Beef.
Aye.
Regina Souza. Aye. Adrian Bellers. Aye. And Henry.
Aye. Okay, you got it. Have a good night. Okay, next item up is we have PB 2026-602 and 606, Monarch Manor, Section 3. Give us a quick overview of what's going on here. These are final subdivision and final site plan, I assume, amendments? Oh, they're just final site plan. Okay, final subdivision, final site plan. Okay,
Good evening, Board. I'm Joe Sortino.
Joe, how you doing? Good.
Sortino Properties, Manor Builders.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to this, I did not own the land over there in Monarch Manor. I bought, my contract was 16 lots annually with A&D. I purchased the place June 1st.
Okay.
So I own the land, and now we're going forward with section 3 with myself controlling things.
Good. Okay, so
And I think wallpaper is on. So.
hey, Walt, how you doing?
Don't-
Good evening, Mr. Harrington. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Good
Yeah.
to see you back in front of us again.
Long distance this time.
Hey, long distance is okay, man.
Yeah. Well, as Joe,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
as Joe
anything
stated-
extra you want to add to that?
Yep, we're gonna complete the section 3, the same as section 1, which was completed a number of years ago. As you recall, this project started in 2015. Joe's been the exclusive builder for the entire project, and
Right.
now at this point in time, A&D Development has sold it to Joe Sortino, which is now the developers referred to as Monarch Manor Builders LLC. So Joe is the owner, the developer, and the builder.
So you only one person to yell at, eh?
And as you know, Joe's done a great job.
Yes,
He's kept the place immaculate, and all the residents that have purchased there have nothing but praise for him. So we're glad to see him able to take it over and move forward with it. He's going to complete section 3, and then we've got 2 other sections after that, 4 and 5. And we'll see how the economy is and move through it. We did receive comments from the PRC, and Joe and I have reviewed those, and we're in compliance with meeting with what they want to do.
Okay, good. Ron?
No, I compliment the builder for building a quality product here in town.
Yep.
I also compliment the builder for his willingness to loop the water line through a future section for the very same purpose as we just identified previously tonight here with Fairdale Meadows.
Yep.
So thank you for that, Joe. Appreciate it. They're aware of the conditions of the town board rezoning. We're going to see some more sidewalks over there on New Michigan Road.
We love sidewalks.
And they're going to clean up that open space area as part of section 2 that is behind the homes there, so that they not having to look at the that's very, very commendable. We'll get the tree count resolved here, Walter, and everything I think is ready to move forward.
I'm actually walking Friday morning at 9 o'clock with Aiden and Kelly.
Okay.
Good. Anything else?
No, you've seen the resolutions, I think, Walter.
Yeah, so do you have any problem with the resolution? Okay. All right, Paul?
I'm all set.
Sean?
Nothing from highway at this time.
Okay, Lance?
Yeah, MRB Group received the plans Friday for review, so we're working through those comments.
Right.
I just suggested the board consider adding a condition to the resolution drafted, just identifying that staff comments be addressed prior to signature of plans. Pretty much a standard condition that you guys have on most of your resolutions,
Okay, so we just need to add a line that says MRB comments will be addressed.
please.
Okay, John, you got that? Okay. Okay, this is another board action, but anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this project? Okay, you're good, Walt's good, anybody in the board, anybody have any issues with this? The only thing I'll say is, I've said this numerous times, so you know, and I've said it off the record, but I'll say it on the record. I'm hoping that anything that's still outstanding on any of the previous ones get taken care of in this one. So, like I said, trees and other areas, we just want it all cleaned up and go forward once this is complete with moving forward and getting it going. Okay, and I know you want the same thing anyway. So, yep. Okay, do I have a motion to block these two resolutions, 606 and 602, and waive the reading and approve these resolutions? Moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Lucia? Aye. Pete?
Aye.
Tina Souza? Aye. Adrian Bell? Aye. And Henry Shear.
Aye. Okay, you got it. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're into open discussions. Ron?
Okay, we have two committees that are driving Caden and I crazy.
Only
One,
because of Tim.
one is an e-bike
Short drive.
workshop, which, we meet tomorrow night at 6 o'clock here in this room. And we have a draft that, if it's acceptable, will be introduced to the town board next month.
Okay.
And then the other is the accessory structures. A lot of comments from the members of that committee. And I've got to find time to get working on those. This is in addition to grants for wastewater treatment plants, and letters of support that need to be dealt with, and other things that take time.
Yes, it does.
But we'll get there. That's all I have.
Okay, Paul?
I don't have anything to add.
Sean, other than I forgot you put Stone and Oil on Colette and.
I figured
so
you-
Turn.
I figured you would have found that on your way in.
Take this. Gone around.
We did the Stone and Oil yesterday
I
on
could tell this.
that road and Crowley, and then we did New Michigan today, and
Oh, this is there, well, over there.
oh, that was a cluster.
Oh, I'm sure.
That was an absolute cluster. Unknown to us. While we were doing that, and we shut down both lanes so we could just pull, because of the way that New Michigan is shaped, we pulled through the curves both lanes and we shut down. We wouldn't allow anybody to come from 41 down to there. 332, they were also doing work on the lights. So they had it backed up on 332 from 41 down to Ace Hardware. So they were sending cars down to Town Line. We were like, where's all this traffic coming from? And it's 332 traffic. And then we're now sending them back the other way or out of town or through Auburn Meadows to get stuck back into that cluster. And we had no idea where it was coming from because we're in our own little world. Yeah, no, it was
That's crazy.
that was a mess today.
That time of year, though.
Yes, it is. It's construction season.
Rochester, 3 times in the last 3 days, and something always, somewhere, construction somewhere, all.
Always.
That's the way it goes this time of year. Anything else?
No, not in the next coming weeks. I mean, we'll be doing some concrete work. And some blacktop across the roads that we've been replacing some drainage issues.
All right.
So,
Okay.
other than that, nothing really from.
Gonna Lance.
No, I don't have anything additional at this time.
Okay, anybody in the audience have any comments, questions? Yes, sir. Name and address?
Lynn Fish.
Oh, Lynn, how you doing? I knew I recognized you, I just couldn't put it all in.
Yeah, I've become pretty popular tonight, I see.
Oh, I'm sure you are. You're the popular neighbor.
I just want to address a couple of things that were said tonight.
It's not gonna be effective because you're not in the public hearing.
No, I know, and again, I just want you guys, I would rather you can just say it off the record, but it was like a.
That's off the record for the project,
Good.
for sure.
All right. Tammy Jacobs, the horse farm across the road, okay?
I don't wanna hear any negative things, but,
No,
okay, go ahead.
I'm,
Okay,
but I just want you guys to know, that was my farmland.
Yeah.
Okay? Nobody cared when she bought the place and put up horse barns and fences all the way around. I didn't worry about the wildlife having a place to eat, any of that stuff, okay? Now all of a sudden it's a concern when it's me doing it, okay? She didn't care about the water when they were putting up those barns, 4 footers, concrete next to their wells and all stuff. That was the problem, okay? Now, across the road where there's no concrete being used, these are just posts pounded in the ground. This whole thing has been going on, okay, and it was a really hard decision for me to even do this. The whole dynamics of the produce industry has changed, so since these Mennonite produce auctions and stuff are going in, nobody eats farm anymore, okay? They go down there and they buy their stuff, they don't come to me, they don't come to farmers like myself who grow it anymore, they go on a produce auction and buy it,
exactly.
okay? It's really hurting the business, it's depressed the money. The stuff that I see, I go on the auction, I take stuff down there because, you know, sometimes there's just no place to go with the stuff, so you take it down there. The prices I get for sweet corn were prices I was getting from Wegmans and stores 15 years ago. Okay, that's how bad it's screwing things up. I have to do something, okay? The solar stuff, the letters from all the different companies, probably 4 or 5 that approached me, have been on my desk for years. I never did anything with them, I kept them, but I didn't. Finally, another friend of mine, he actually talked to this new energy equity, blah, 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 he was very impressed. I talked to him, and just kind of feel them out and see what was expected, how long the term is, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
In the meantime, when I did more research, I promise you, than anybody in this room, okay, it was years worth of Googling, blah, 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 checking for water problems, okay, is it gonna screw wells up? Do I have to worry about contamination? Okay, 25 years from now, can it still be farmed or can it not be farmed? Will there be any kind of contamination? Right? Got that off my plate because that wasn't anything that you know, according to us. Go over and talk to 2 other solar farms that are already in place. Okay, as you know, the one on Fox Road or on the corner from the house.
Yeah.
Okay, ask them if you do it again. He says absolutely. I go, no noise problems, no blah blah blah. No, he goes, they're great about working with you. You know, to do stuff. And I said, no problems, nothing I should, if I decide to go with this, anything I should put the contract on in there, he goes, I don't think you gotta worry about it, he goes, it's just, because I do it again tomorrow, it's peaceful.
Yep.
You know, he goes, my other option was to sell it and build houses and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, I want to stop this.
okay.
The reason I want to stop it, your rules of procedures specifically prohibit.
Oh, that's right, I remember
Okay.
now. Start talking about a project where the public hearing is already suspended. We
We,
need to hear it during the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, and
And I appreciate that because we kind of anticipated that, but I will make one general comment. For you specifically. You know that you'll still own the land.
Right.
You're just leasing it out.
Yes.
So when we get to any decommissioning plan, and this is in general, you're on the hook. If they, for some reason, don't do it right or don't do it, you're on the hook for doing it. If you don't do it, then the bond that the town is holding would do the
Decommissioning.
yeah, decommissioning. So just wanted you to know that. I was very upfront with the fish or the other Yellow Mills one. Just want to make sure
Roger
that
Smith.
you know that you're on the hook for it. is what it is, but, yeah, you can come to the next meeting if you want and, make your comments in general. You know, that you did the research or whatever. We appreciate that, and we all treat this just like we do everything else that we've done in the last almost 30 years I've been doing this. We'll go through it effectively and efficiently, and we'll make the right determinations based on what's going on, but we will require a lot of the applicant. We'll require decommissioning plans, we'll require maintenance plans, we'll require all, so you'll be protected from that.
That's great, and I, part of the contract that I signed with these guys, I made them put in a stipulation that they were gonna, put an account in escrow. In case they go belly up, blah, 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 that would be used to clean up the mess.
They're gonna do the same thing.
Right. So, that was, and, so. then
Appreciate it.
The placement of the panels, I purposely put them on the back half of the farm, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go stop.
That's okay. You can even type that up, like they put together and
Yep.
submit that.
Okay.
But
If
it needs to be submitted at public hearing.
At the next public hearing.
That's public hearing.
Right.
Yep. We appreciate it. And don't be shy about coming and sitting and listening to what's going on.
No, it's tough for me this time of year, okay, I'm under 4 and, so it's like, I got
I get, you don't get stronger.
Where we at? She's going to it.
Is it really?
Some of those questions, you're probably gonna answer it, pretty short.
Yeah.
What's that?
Some of the land use, like you know, what land they said, or some questions that the people want to. How they decide.
Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about, Candy thinks I own 650 acres.
Okay, but
Okay,
yeah.
Just.
All right,
Get back into it. Yeah.
Cause it's in one of those things.
Yep. Okay.
Taxes answered was, and I don't know how they're gonna answer it, solar company, so make sure.
So make sure you review it.
Make sure you.
Okay.
Answer how you.
Good point.
So that's.
Good point.
There might be a couple of those you gotta answer.
That's
They know already, I.
Thank you.
I'll,
Okay,
get those words, but
you got it.
thanks, guys.
Yep. Hal, you got anything? Sir, are you on anything? Okay, board? Let's, still got a couple left on. Anybody online like to make a general comment? Okay, I don't see anybody taking it off of mute. Board have anything? I know we've got one that's not gonna be here at the next meeting and Adrian doesn't know. No soon. We'll have at least 3 of us there. That would be Noah. Anybody else have anything? I don't have anything. Motion to adjourn by Doug, second by Adrian, all in favor? Aye. Okay,